So, Jerome, you may be next, says Elon Musk, as he tries to basically buy his competition out with putting an offer in for OpenAI that Sam Altman basically rejects. And I do think I agree with him when we say that $97 billion for OpenAI is a tad bit small as the Doge thing heats up, as Elon picks up a bunch of new enemies. And as the news gets very, very interesting as we head into this wonderful CPI day on Wednesday, we got Jerome Powell that was testifying today. So if you guys did not see what he said, make sure you go check out Twitter, Financial Juice. They are an amazing, amazing source for a lot of information. But Elon today was formally offered, right? This is not some for taking Twitter or Tesla private at 420, right? This is him officially offering $97 billion for OpenAI. A company has at least $300 billion in estimated value and valuations from previous other banks. So just a tad bit small. Sam Altman basically saying that he would buy Twitter for $9.74 billion if you want, just throwing the insult back to them. But with all this money that Doge is saving, maybe Elon is getting a little piece of it and also maybe be able to buy it, right? You just got to get a couple more $100 billion, Elon, saved from the Doge team, and maybe you'll be able to afford it. Obviously, joking, guys, he's actually not getting any of this money. Just a little comedy there. But what was really exciting today was that we got back to fear and greed of neutral territory. So both sides kind of equaling out, still hovering around that fearful territory as we head into the expectation for CPI, which again, we don't necessarily have the expectation right now. 2.9 expected for CPI. Core is not expected yet. However, I'm sure we will have further expectations as the day approaches tomorrow. When you guys are watching this video, if you go to investing.com, it's calendar, economic calendar, you most likely will be able to find this CPI number. And as always, if you guys want trade ideas, link in the description below is a Discord. Make sure you hit up an admin to be added to the exclusive watch list that has netted close to 2K in profit just on this earnings season alone, with only about $600 of capital needed. So if you guys want to see plays that come out every single week, we post weekly plays down there. Join the Discord, link description below, add an admin, and then see how things turn out. And it's going to be completely free for the first 17 people that join, so make sure you're one of them. But enough about that. What is going to happen with the debt markets? What's going to happen with everything else? Well, considering that CPI is the main thing on deck for tomorrow, Jerome Powell kind of would have already given us some intuitions, and mostly the first day is the most catalyzed day. Markets last night weren't super hot, but again, it is setting up to be a very, very interesting day. He's going to give us some insights. I don't foresee much coming out of it. For me, I would be mainly looking at the earnings that are coming out prior to market open. Coca-Cola, Shopify are going to be the big ones. Lyft and Aftermarket and Supermicro. That's going to be super important for all those NVIDIA, AVGO, AMD, Intel players out there, because this is the meme one that is going to set up the sentiment going all the way into NVIDIA's earnings in 2 weeks from now, where we're going to get basically NVIDIA and AVGO reporting back to back, which is going to be absolutely an insanely catalyzed day. And most of the entire semiconductor industry will be pushing higher. Now, enough about talking about NVIDIA. Let's talk about what happened last night on NVIDIA. Well, seemingly we knocked right into this 50-day moving average, rejected off of its first retest. Now the question becomes, is this a dead cat bounce, or is this the first hurdle that we have to get over going back to that all-time high of 155? Personally, I think it's a hurdle. Just looking at the volume breakdown, as we can see here, this is an area of high volume. So it's going to take some time to get through. We saw this with the Russell, right? Going back to it, we can see clearly on the chart that we have a huge amount of volume sitting around this 50-day moving average. The Russell has multiple attempts of trying to break it. Will Shopify be the thing that finally launches the Russell? Again, small cap Shopify. That's going to create a lot of that sentiment build in the market, as we saw previously with the fear and greed index of basically setting the sentiment up to be successful for us today. We could crank all the way to greed territory. As I mentioned, the weekend deep dive, also link in the description below, and it'll be note carded at the end of the video for all those that watch toward the end. again, we've been sitting in this fearful territory for quite amount of time. It is about time that we get out of it. We do not want to necessarily be here and just keep meandering in fear. Again, eventually people are naturally going to be bullish and they're going to want to make more money. CPI could definitely be the catalyst. I think the expectations here, especially with a blowout eggs, fearful titles that you've been seeing, guys, on the YouTube, on the news, 2.9 flat CPI, it's not what the Fed necessarily wants to see, but it's also not bad, right? So it's kind of one of those take it as you may type of readings. And we got a slew of news that we need to talk about. Ukraine looking like it wants to actually have a peace negotiation. Envoy is telling Trump that they will have a deal presented to him in the coming weeks. So that's good for the Middle East as well as Ukraine. Sorry, I had that backwards. That's really good for the Ukraine and also the Middle East, trying to basically return the hostages by Saturday. Trump basically saying that Israel shouldn't honor the deal unless the hostages are not returned Saturday, trying to be that big Don in the room, trying to bully everyone into getting what he wants. And it's pretty successful thus far. We also got the French arguing that they are going to protect their sovereignty if tariffs are imposed. We all know how that went in 2018. And also we see Hamas told mediators U.S. guarantees for the ceasefire are no longer in place, giving Trump's displacement plan. Yeah, you really don't have a choice in this matter. But again, all the news, right? All the news is being generated. And we're not necessarily seeing anything super bad. Again, judge blocks Trump, and then Ukrainian envoy to present Trump's peace options in the coming weeks, as I mentioned before. And again, that's going to be very interesting. We also, like I mentioned, Elon trying to buy OpenAI. And last but not least, Trump asked if he sees JD Vance as a successor. He also said no. So that could be a little bummer for JD Vance, as your partner's kind of throwing you under the bus. So definitely could be one of those very interesting things. And who would have thought Australia would have made the news, asking for exemptions to tariffs to Trump and him talking today, which is the head PM, I believe, of Australian Treasury Chancellor. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that all plays out. And furthermore, Trump basically saying that 25% tariff on steel with no exclusions, meaning you're all getting tariffs and have a nice day as it goes. And he's also talking that we're going to examine chips and cars soon. So how's that going to impact BYD? How's that going to impact Tesla? How's that going to impact NVIDIA, AVGO, that make a lot of these chips outside the nation? And will they start coming back into the country? Or is it going to be that a certain country, a certain section of a certain country is going to be exempt from stuff while others made in that country are not, right? It could be. You got to read between the lines on that one, because YouTube doesn't like us very much when we say that naughty word. And Trump to implement the reciprocal tariffs in the next 48 hours. So now you got your deadline. When you guys are watching this, will be 24 hours at the time of this post. So again, Wednesday. It all comes down to beautiful Wednesday with CPI, tariffs, and earnings. So it's just going to be a fantastic week, guys. And if you guys wanted to know exactly what the markets were doing, you guys could have seen the trade ideas that we had on Discord, but also we gave out these levels in the market update. So if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and really hit the like button, because that's the one that really helps the channel out, boosts the video, gets it out to more people. If you don't subscribe, that's great, right? But hit the like button. That's really what we need. And your support, as always. If you are subscribed, make sure you hit the like button. It helps the channel out tremendously. So, S&P kind of did a gap of nothing, right? Doji candle style today, not really much from the previous day. And NASDAQ as well, pumping up. So what do we want to see? What do we want to see on the close today? We want to see 532 get broken. We want to see bullish continuation. Staying in this level lets us set up back for the gap and crap, right? Coming back down to the 50-day moving average. After a gap up, it's not necessarily what I want to see, especially with the Russell showing more weakness. I said I don't want to blow out the low. Today we hovered around that. We filled the gap, hovered around it. So that means, in my opinion, I think the S&P and NASDAQ are going to go push higher today. And most likely heading into CPI are going to be pushing. I do think Powell is going to give some indication that the Fed is still looking at 2 rate cuts, which will reinvigorate the odds for rate cuts, especially now sitting at 35% for 1, 30% for 2, and 13% chance for 3. I err in the camp of the 30. I think you're going to get 2. Fatal thinks you're going to get none, so he's in the camp of the 16s. So again, we're going to see how these odds shape up. This is the December odds, so they take some time to move. This is not super accurate. This is just a distribution of where people see it. Mean is going to be 1 or 2 kind of camp. Throw in the comment section below which guys camp you're in. I'm really curious to see which side you kind of fall. Do you think none, right? Do you think 3, right? Where do you guys stand on it? I want to see the distribution of what you guys are thinking. And again, throw in the comment section below if you guys enjoy this debt clock as much as I do. It's going to be a crazy day with CPI. Make sure you guys tune in for the live stream that we're going to be doing on CPI day. Make sure you guys subscribe, and make sure you guys check out the weekend deep dive video pinned over here as promised for you guys, so you know exactly what levels you need to trade. Join the Discord as well, and thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.